Welcome to Life, Lessons, and Laughter with your host, Glenn Ambrose.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Let's bring on Aubrey.
Hello.
There's Aubrey. Hello.
Hello.
The female version of our show.
Well, I'm not going to say
her. we have the yin. We have the good balance. We have the male female.
Mm-hmm.
The yin and the yang.
Good.
Yeah. We're adapting. We're adaptable.
Very adaptable.
And we're talking about adaptability.
How to adapt.
This is, I think there's a lot of this going on. A lot of changes, right? That means a lot of adaptability is necessary. Yep. So this is going to be increasingly important as we move forward through this through this shift. And well, for those of us on the spiritual shift, as we move through the spiritual shift, for those of us not on the spiritual shift, through the nightmare that is reality.
Pick which way you want to go.
Yeah, your call.
For real life multiple choice question.
Yeah, so it's but yeah, so I don't know where the heck this came in, but I made a note of it because it sounded good at the time. So I mentioned it to Aubrey, and here we are. It seemed like a good idea. So yeah, I was just, for some reason, I got this adaptability to change as a source of strength and or a source of success when you're going towards a goal. So, so it's the, when we're moving towards, life is constantly changing. So adaptability is important, period. I mean, we have to be able to adapt, but I think it's even more important now. And when we're going through life, if we're walking towards something, if I think about what stops us from walking towards something, a lot of times it's a lack of adaptability. Mm-hmm. We're expecting things to go a certain way and they don't go that way. And all of a sudden it's like, oh no, I don't know what to do. Oh no. So, if we allow that to shut us down, then it's going to block us from reaching our goal. So adaptability and going with that change is very important, which kind of, that's kind of a specific way that we'll probably go into more, but in more of a general way, it's all suffering is resistance to what is. Hmm. And how many people do you know are suffering?
Lots.
Yeah.
More than that, unfortunately.
Yeah. So it's like, if there's close to 8 billion people on the planet, there's over 7 billion of them that are experiencing emotional suffering on a regular basis. So what, we're resisting the reality of what is. Mm-hmm. And what is constantly changes, because we live in an ever changing reality. So it's constantly changing. So if we get better at adaptability, then we resist the reality of our situation less. We adapt to what's happening. We adapt to the reality of our situation instead of resisting it. So I guess it's just the opposite of resisting, adapting.
Yeah. It's like going with the flow, I guess, right? Instead of going against it with
right
resistance. Mm-hmm.
Which is, like one of the, I always like when there's a clear line to what people perceive as reality, like tangible. So, because it tends to reach more people. That's why a lot of my teaching is like that. I try to bring spiritual teaching into everyday life, into tangible things that you can actually apply to your life and actually change your life right now. So it's like with this, it's, I think it's the book 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, that, they study people who are successful and they find out, wow, they think differently than most people who aren't successful.
Mm-hmm.
Mind blowing. Who'd have thunk it?
Shocking.
Shocking. They actually interact with information and situations differently than people who don't succeed. Whoa, unbelievable. So like, and one of the things is that they, successful people see opportunity where others see problems. That's adaptability. They're not just looking, when they come across a problem, they don't look at it as like, oh no, there's a problem, we have to stop. Like, oh, I guess I'll fail now that there's a problem. No, yep. They're like, okay, so there's always going to be problems. There's always going to be roadblocks. There's always going to be situations that are not as we expect it. Mm-hmm. So, if I see this as a problem to stop me, then it will stop me. But I'm choosing to see it as an opportunity, either an opportunity in the unique situation that is, mm-hmm. or an opportunity to find a way around.
Yeah.
To come up with a creative solution.
Now, is the ability to go with the flow, right? To not resist and to be adaptable. Do you feel that that's a muscle that needs to be trained, or that you need to get better at with practice over time, or is that just a choice?
Yes.
Yes to all of them.
Yeah. C, all of the above.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we're conscious in situations, I painted myself into a corner there verbally. Yeah. If in certain situations, if we're conscious enough, we can just choose. So like, we can start that in 15 minutes if we'd like, we could start that tomorrow. We could, as soon as there's a situation that arises, we can choose right in that moment. Yeah. But the more often we do it, the more, the better we're going to get at it, the more likely we're going to see it. Yeah. So then it strengthens over time too. It starts becoming a habit after a while, that whenever something goes wrong, you're just like, oh yeah, well, that's expected because that's what happens in life. So, how do we find our way around it? You just automatically start looking your way around it,
Yeah. Do you know on average, like how many times it takes to do something to form a habit?
No, but I think I've heard like
21 or something, but I don't know. I was just thinking, if you want to form a habit, like what?
I heard like 21. I think it's like 21 days, or like it's kind of like a time period, like 21 days. They say 3 weeks, something like that.
Yeah. So you start really trying to be present and conscious of this. You could really shift your reality in a small amount of time.
Yeah. With something like this, you really can, because it's like, it's not as broad as trying to be more conscious, like, hey, let's be more conscious. Okay. Like with what? Everything. Oh, that's kind of a taller order, but with this, it's like, it usually captures your attention when stuff goes wrong. So then it a lot of times it stops you dead in your tracks. So if you're stopped, hopefully you're more likely to be like, oh, okay, what should I do? You engage your thinking brain and you go, oh, what should I do? Oh, wait, didn't I? So since you've stopped the unconsciousness and engaged your thinking mind, you're more likely to be like, okay, well, what was I doing? Oh, I'm supposed to fine. I'm not supposed to let it stop me. Yeah. Okay. How do I do that?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Yeah.
So I think you're kind of, this is something that you're geared, it's a little bit easier to find success with than something that's broader, because it's more specific, so you can really implement it. Hopefully.
Definitely.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah. It's I think I see a lot of frustration when triggers come up for people, and you do get confronted with having to make that choice, and people will a lot of the time mistake it for not healing because the triggers still come up. But do you feel that it's more within how you deal with it, and they'll always be there kind of thing?
Well, I think that's a good distinction, because it's like, I was kind of, what I just said was more about the big things, if you have a major problem, it usually captures your attention.
Right.
So you can have good success there, but then you also have the day-to-day stuff that's almost, it's almost like just thinking negatively. That's a little harder to change because it's so embedded and it's so unconscious. Yeah. So then you don't stop every time it happens, engage your thinking mind, and then start addressing it. You just react unconsciously.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit.
Too, because I think a lot of people, that's just society, like as a whole. Like we've talked about this in our former podcast. When you want to bond with someone at the grocery store, you talk about how crappy the world is. Like it's just, it's really what we know. So I could see it being frustrating for someone trying to break out of that, and then having that constantly, brought back up. But it's more about the internal work.
Yeah, that's, that this is one of those things, like a lot of things that, the sacred pause really helps. It's just, if you can just learn to just stop, that's so important. Just, we have to slow down in our society, and we have to stop. And I'm not saying, should we slow down as a general rule? Yes, 100%. But that's not what I'm talking about right now. I'm not talking, because this is what the ego does. As soon as I say, oh, everybody needs to slow down, everybody goes, yeah, but I'm really busy. And Glenn's an idiot because he's telling me I have to quit my job. Well, no, that's, that's what the ego does. It exaggerates, blows it out of proportion, generalizes, and then finds problems in it, So, yeah. It happens all the time. Like when I'm talking with somebody one-on-one, especially if, like, my clients know better for the most part. Every once in a while they'll do it, just out of habit. But people that aren't my clients, it happens all the time. Because as soon as I say one little thing about how you can take responsibility for your life, they have 13,000 gigantic reasons why they can't. And it's like, it's like, well, you could slow down and think. Oh, you don't understand. Oh, yeah. And they blah, 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 about a bunch of stuff that I'm not talking about. Like, I have 14 kids and 32 jobs, and I can't slow down. It's unrealistic. You're an idiot. Yeah. It's like, okay, I was just saying, like, for a half a second in this conversation, that was it. You can still work all your jobs. You can still raise all your children. Like, I was just saying, just for like a half a second, like now. That's it. No, like, oh, well, I don't see how that's really going to make any difference.
It makes the biggest difference. I think that through meditation and yoga is the only way that I can maintain that,
Yeah, I say this often. I don't believe that there is one path for everyone. And I really don't like telling people how to live their lives. Ironically enough, I like people to, even as a life coach, I don't like telling people how they have to run their life. I like helping them find the best way for them to run their life. But I can't find a way around meditation, man. Like, we have to stop our minds. So, like, meditation can look very different for people, though. So I think that's the variance that I'm looking for. Walking meditations, petting your animal meditation, seated meditation, guided meditation, non-guided meditation, music background meditation, gongs going off every once in a while meditation. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I do. That's where I like, and mixing it up too.
Yeah.
Like I mix it up because like I have to, so right now I'm doing a silent timed meditation every morning for 10 minutes. And and it has, I think, 3 bells that go off throughout it. So if my mind's going somewhere, all of a sudden the bell goes off and I'm like, oh, that's right, I'm supposed to be here, to bring me back. So there's lots of different ways to meditate. So that's, I guess, the variance. But yeah, you got to learn how to slow your mind down and just get back in control of it. So you can tell it to shut up. Yeah. And actually have it shut up.
Right. Right. It's, because acting from, I feel like that space is really between your emotion that's natural that comes up and the reaction that you're going to put out to the world. And that little second can make a big impact in saving you from some big mistakes because you were angry or whatever.
Oh, absolutely. It's the biggest second of your life right there. I mean, it's the difference. Yeah, because it's that's why it can be a half a second sometimes. I mean, sometimes in big situations we have to create space. We have to be like, hey, can I get back to you tomorrow or whatever, so we don't just shoot off, without thinking things through. But in a lot of day-to-day conversations, it's literally like a half a second to a second is enough to not react, because it just stops the brain, because that's what happens is stimuli comes in and a reaction comes out. There's no thought. It's just, and everybody thinks they know what they're doing. Like, of course I'm aware of what I'm doing. Yeah, you're aware because you're there. Like you're aware because you're witnessing it. Yeah. Not because you're in control of it.
No. And you're not aware of what comes after.
Right. So just try to implement change and you'll find out real quickly you're not in control of your behavior.
Absolutely. Yeah. I, just thinking about it, like all of the major arguments I've gotten into in life and just like those big fights and stuff. And I don't think I had space in any of those. Like, it was really like me, no, if I had space, I don't think it would ever have escalated to that.
No, it doesn't.
One out of the two has the space, then one can stop it. You know what I mean? But if you both don't and you're reactive, it caused some big issues.
Yeah. Like I saw my son, like one time I was all upset. My son was probably, I think he had moved in with me. So I think he was probably like 12 or 13. And it was like, we were close his whole life, spending a lot of time together. But when he moved in with me, it changed the dynamic between us. And it wasn't it was hard, man. I thought it was going to be pretty fluid because, I'm Joe Spiritual Glenn and like, and like me and my son have this wonderful relationship and we're going to live in this house filled with love now. And it's all just beautiful. And, and it was hard, man. It was a lot of adjustments because now all of a sudden I was in charge of everything and we're around each other all the time, So one time I was upset and I was going off about something and I don't remember specifically, but I have a feeling I was trying to engage him and he wouldn't engage. And he just like, I would say something to try to engage him and he just wouldn't engage. And he just, which was great for me because like, if I'm really upset, there's nothing anybody can say to calm me down. You just got to give me space, like you can set boundaries with me and say like, hey, I'm not going to let you talk to me like that or something.
Yeah.
Although my son, I'm not sure if he could have pulled that off at a young age, but most people can. I
don't know. Your reaction might be a little different.
It's a little
like, okay.
The dynamic between father and son or child and parent is a little bit specific in those situations. Yeah. So, but he called me on my stuff quite a bit over the years, and I usually did respond well, but like he wouldn't engage with me, and I noticed it, and then so of course the whatever I was expressing ended quicker. And then I stepped away, and when I I fully calmed myself down. And then I looked at what he was doing, and I was like, oh my God, like he was present and he refused to engage. That's so valuable in a relationship. So I went and talked to him. I said, hey, listen, I noticed what you were doing. I was upset, and you would not engage with me. You didn't instigate me. You didn't push me. You just listened and went, okay, okay. One word answers, but you didn't feed it. You didn't feed into it, Yeah. And I was like, that is gigantic. I said, if we do that for each other, whenever I'm capable of doing it, I will do it for you. And whenever whenever I'm not, if you're capable of doing it, you do that for me. Like this could be a miracle worker right here. Like this could be a game changer. We could really, improve. We could have a great relationship just on this thing alone. Yeah. So, and it did. He did it. He did it again. More times I would catch him, and I tried to do it for him, and it certainly helped. So it's that, but that pause is enough to oftentimes to choose how you want to react, or just to choose to lean away. Just going like, I'm not leaning into this drama. Michael Singer does a great job explaining that in The Untethered Soul and on some of his videos, where it's literally like you can feel it. Like he describes it, I think it might have been on the Oprah show he did on his first interview. And it was like, he was just like leaning in and then leaning back. And he's like, when something happens, you have that choice right in that moment. And if you lean in, you're in it, man. You're in the drama of it. You're in the energy of it, whatever you want to call it, you're in. And it's hard getting out then. So it's that if you just pause just enough, or you just get in the habit of leaning back, because leaning back basically is pausing.
Yeah.
It's, it's kind of a different mentality, different way of phrasing it, but you're leaning away. So you're creating space in between you and the situation. That space is called the pause. So like if you lean away, then all of a sudden your brain engages clearly instead of unconscious reactionary, and you can choose how to act a lot of times. Yeah. I'm going to choose to engage, or I'm going to choose to lean back. But like, if you're just unconsciously, every time something happens, you lean in, which most people do, that.
It's so disempowering, and it's ironic because not ironic. It's just when you lean into that, you feel so out of control.
Yeah, it is disempowering. And that's a really good point, because to me, that's one of my favorite words, empowerment and disempowerment, because they're so, they're powerful, man. It's got the word power right in it.
It has a good sound to it.
Yeah. So and when that's a key, to me, some of my favorite qualities about spiritual living is empowerment and freedom. Those are probably my two favorite things, because freedom is when you're completely free of things. They don't control you. Mm-hmm. And disempowerment is when something is controlling you. So they're very similar, So empowerment is when you're in control of yourself and your destiny and your life. And that feels so good, So to me, I like using strong words like that because it captures my attention. And the word disempowerment was perfect for how you feel when you get sucked in. When you just allow yourself to lean in when you should be leaning out, and you're completely out of control, and you're not acting like yourself, and and it's a melee, and it's drama filled, and you don't even know how the hell you got there, but you just know it sucks. And you're like, not again.
Yeah. And it usually comes with a lot of regret.
Right. and then you feel bad about yourself, which lowers your self-esteem. So then you're not feeling empowered. So then you do it. Then you fall into the trap again next time, So like, right.
You're just
It's that cycle.
completely out of control, because the control element comes in when you have the space, and then you can choose to decide how you're going to act.
And then you consciously choose how you're going to act. And like, why would you consciously choose to act like a jerk? Right. You don't. So you consciously choose to act better than you would have if you were not choosing and you were unconscious. So therefore you feel empowered because you feel like you're in control of your own life, how you react. It's a wonderful feeling,
Mm-hmm.
So that pause is the, that key. Creating space is that key, so you can consciously choose. And then, when you can choose to adapt. You can choose, like, this isn't important. This isn't worth me getting involved in, getting dragged down in, or, you can choose anything at that point because you're conscious in that moment.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you think that the first step to creating space, what is the first step?
I think it's just that, just practicing pausing. So like that, like one, it's just practicing pausing and praying for awareness. I touched on this on another podcast. It's like, you can ask for what you can't do for yourself. So how are you supposed to pause if you never remember to pause? Right.
You don't know what you don't know.
Right. So you can ask for awareness, like when it's time to pause, and the universe will help you with that, because, the universe, your expansion benefits the universe. So it's going to help you in whatever way, whatever you can't do for yourself, it's going to help you with. So it can enhance your awareness levels just by praying or asking for awareness. And then, really like being serious about it. You can, hey, can I have some awareness? Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to try to be more aware. Oh, no, I messed up.
Like, actually mean it. Actually.
Yeah. Like, I mean, really, come on, like be, one of the the three things necessary for change is open-mindedness, honesty, and willingness. Like, be honest with yourself. Like, sometimes people will be like, you can hear it in their voice and their energy. No, I really tried to change last week. No, you didn't. I can hear you didn't. Nobody that actually tried to change says, I really tried to change last week.
I hate the word try. It makes me, I hate it. Did I ever, not anyone watching, but I did a seminar and they did an exercise where they held a pen in their hand and they went up to someone and they're like, try to pick up this pen, try to pick it up. And everyone goes and reaches for the pen. They're like, no, try to pick it up, because everyone's, and you get through the whole thing and we realize, like, trying doesn't exist. You're either picking up the pen or you're not picking up the pen. Like, you can't show me what trying to pick up the pen looks like. We can do our best, right? I can do my best, and but the trying thing just tries.
Yeah, and there's a lot of truth to that. This is where a lot of the spiritual, especially like what people label as the new age spirituality, came from, was the self-help and business. Like, where did these business seminars get that stuff? It's all self-help stuff. It's all, business success stuff, because they studied it and they found what worked. And if it works consistently and there's truth behind it, then there's a spiritual law underneath it. That's why it works consistently, or a universal law, if you like that word better, a law that works in the universe, So like, this is why, I was drawn to some of that stuff when I was younger, and I read a couple books by like Napoleon Hill and some quotes by Zig Ziglar and stuff like this. And it's all like business stuff and success stuff, but it's spirituality in action. So it's in. And what did they teach? You know, like they didn't believe obstacles were to stop you. You know, they taught how to get around obstacles, how to adapt, how to change. You know, they didn't teach like write down a business plan, and as soon as something doesn't go as you projected, then just crumple it up and quit. Like, I'm pretty sure that was never taught in any business seminar.
Right.
You know, like, so it's, you know, this is, I'm just going to touch on this. I'm going to try not to expand on it, but like yesterday something caught my attention yesterday for some reason. And I don't even know why, but like I saw something and I went, oh, business. And it was about business failures. And I was like, oh yeah, you know, there's a large business failures is like, I think 75% of businesses fail, like within the first 5 years or something. And then it may even be as high as 90%, like overall, which is a daunting statistic, which that's what captured my attention, you know, because I don't believe in daunting statistics. Like to me, if something isn't working over and over and over, that means you're doing it wrong. Like it's you know, it's not because it's impossible. It's because you're doing it wrong, you know? Right. So this is how my mind gets captured on things. Like this is what my mind does. It's like not 75% failure rate, maybe even 90%. That's ridiculous. You know, like, so then I started thinking, why? And my mind went right back to taking the humanity out of it. And so I literally grabbed my phone and I searched for business failure statistics over like in past years, like 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, stuff like that. And I found this site and they all basically said that, you know, the failure rates were anywhere from 48 to like 60-ish% back then. And it's much higher now. Right. And I'm like, oh, this is already proving my theory, I think. So like because my theory was like that they're taking numbers out of that. They're not taking numbers out. They're putting numbers into everything. Everything is numbers based. It's all AI based. What they're doing is they're running statistics and finding the likeliness of something happening. And this is the direction that a lot of the world is going, even worse now. But I remembered when I was a kid, they started doing it in banks. Like I was going to go get a loan I bought my father's car from him when I was like a junior or senior in high school, my first car. So I was going to get a loan to give him the money and then pay it back. So I went to the bank to get a loan and they didn't want to give me a loan because I was a kid in high school. But that was when I started understanding the dynamics of a loan and having conversations with my father about it and other people in business. And what I found out was that they no longer, like before the 80s, they used to actually have conversations with people, find out who they were, go over their business plan with them. A lot of times it was smaller communities, so they knew these people anyway, right? And they would really, they would make a decision, is this person a good bet? And that part of that was based on their personality, who they were, how they were talking, their stick-to-itiveness, that type of thing. You can't quantify that, right? So what in the 80s, when they started going to sheer numbers, just with models, you know, business like number models, they took the humanity out of it. And that's when business failures shot up. Because they are no longer, you know, you weren't betting back when they bet on people and they looked at a person and said, do I think this person is going to make a go of it and really stick to it and make it through difficulties and therefore have a successful business? Yes, I think this person will. when they based loans on that, we had a higher success rate in business. Mm-hmm. But when we based it on just sheer numbers and we took the person out of it, we have a much larger failure rate now because of that. So life is not everything is better just sheerly by statistics. People.
Oh yeah, no, for my whole life, I really statistics don't mean a whole lot to me because it's hard for me to grasp it because it's I don't know. You can read obviously with each statistic what they've broken it down or what they're looking at, but I just would rather see it with my own eyes.
Yeah, they're taking out the biggest piece, and what the biggest piece is what we're talking about. It's people's mindset. Mm-hmm. Your success in your business is not based on just numbers. I mean, hey, I mean, if it costs you $10 to produce something and you sell it for $8, mm-hmm. you're going out of business. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, of course there's numbers involved. I'm not saying that we take all numbers out. What I'm saying is that the person is more important than numbers. And once we start understanding that, we're going, and we go in that direction, because that's why I'm 75, 90% failure rate. No way. Right. Not with the people that I know, not with the success, not with a successful mindset, not when somebody's looking at something and going I'm going to, there's a problem. Let's find our way around it. Let's adapt, overcome. Let's get past this, find a way. When you have that attitude, there's no way. Now, if you take people with that attitude, there's no way they have a 75% failure rate. Right. No way.
Yeah, it's not possible.
No. Mm-hmm. Why? Because whatever happens, they're going to overcome it. That's what it takes to be successful in business. Yeah. I'm involved with this company called Nibbana, and it's cryptocurrency, and cryptocurrency took a big hit there a couple months ago. Mm-hmm. And the whole point of this cryptocurrency is it's based on brick and mortar stores, real stores. So it's bridging the gap between digital currency and physical reality, basically.
Oh, wow.
So that's the whole idea behind this project. It's a cool project. So we're having a meeting, and the stores were doing really well, and everything we were doing was this. Let me rephrase. The stores weren't doing really well. The stores were doing fine. Yeah. Profit was down, of course, because everything going on in the crypto market, but they were still making consistent profit, and it was fine. They were weathering the storm really well. And what I said, I was like that is more of a testament to how strong this project is than it doing well when everything was going well. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All businesses do well when everything's going well. So that's not really a good test. It's when things aren't going well, are you still maintaining? Are you still making profit? Are you still generating income? If that's the case, now that's a better test, Yeah. And so it's, because it's adaptability. Yep. It's being able to adapt even when the situation and your circumstances are not ideal.
Yeah. We had a conversation about this in my life coaching session. It is adaptability and just the ability to go with the flow versus, leaning into all that resistance and the pain and suffering, for what?
Yeah. For what? That's what's funny about it. And I know you get a kick out of this. It's when you really break it down and just put words to it, it's insane the way that we live. Most people in society, it's literally insane to look at it. It makes zero sense. And people live their lives by this. And, the important thing is not, it's not cursing the darkness because people have been walking in it. It's lighting a candle and praising the light and going, listen, there is light out there. It's okay that you walked in the dark. We don't have to walk like that anymore. Just question what you're doing. I let go of if you're thinking about starting a business or making a career change, don't, and you go, oh, I can never do that. Stop that, man. Stop and think and start implementing this stuff. Like, why?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't you? Like,
right.
Everybody, like I can.
Yeah.
Like something, like.
Yeah, I think that the tool that you've given a lot is just, picturing the worst case scenario.
Yeah. And a lot of time, and the best case.
Of course.
But yeah, worst case scenario, if you can navigate and it's not that if you like it, because you're right. That's when we really look at what we're risking, this is just a different way of phrasing the same thing. When we really look at what we're risking, we're not risking anything. Nothing, because like if you go start a business, like, and you spend some time and, you try to build something and it fails. Oh, okay. Then like, most situations, you don't just quit your job to go start a business. You start it on the side, once it builds big enough to where your income is close, you probably have to take a leap at some point. There's some risk there in that little spot. But you're not going in blind. You've been working at it for months, possibly years, to get it to a place before you leap, So, I mean, yeah, there's a little risk there. But what if you try to start a business and it fails? So you just either stay at your job that you already have that you didn't quit yet, or go back to working in that career.
Yep.
Like,
I like what you said there. It made me think of how like we use fear to stop us from doing things, right? Like you'll use fear to not make a career jump or, whatever it is, but say it's a career jump and you're not happy where you're at and you want to move to a different job or a different career. But the fear of like how scary that is and what you might have to do may actually keep you from experiencing something better than what you have going right now.
It definitely will.
So yeah, like I feel like if you're gonna have fear there and the ability to shift it, like I'm not afraid of. I should be more afraid of what I might miss out on.
That's I don't like fear.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways I've worked it out of my life, not in every way.
Yeah.
But honestly, like there are a couple things in this life that give me the chills, kind of like fear type stuff. And that's one of them.
Same.
I could, if I put my head on my deathbed and I go, I didn't really succeed at anything, I would be okay with that. Like I could die peacefully, never having succeeded at anything.
Yeah.
But never having tried, no.
Yep.
No, I'd be kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
I'd be fighting a Grim Reaper, man. I'd be like, no, give me another shot. Like,
bring me back.
That would just drive me crazy.
Yeah. I 100%. Because you want to know you gave it your all, and if at least if you try or if you fail, at least you put in every bit that you possibly could, and you can never say that you didn't actually go for it.
I left it all on the field. That's how I was when I was younger playing sports. It was like I wasn't the most talented athlete, but I guarantee you I gave the most effort out of anybody on that team every time. I left it on the field. But I loved that mentality as a kid, and I still love it. It's like, leave it on the field, man. Like what are you preserving?
Right.
If you're living a life that you don't enjoy, like, why? Like what, oh, I don't want to lose this. I don't want to risk it because I might lose something that I don't enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is why, like when I was in Rhode Island, I moved 3 or 4 times, just, and people that would, especially the people that helped me move, were like, Glenn, what is your problem? Like, I hate moving. You like moving? I'm like, no, I hate moving. And they're like, then why do you move so much? I'm like, because I can't not move.
Yeah.
Like I can't, like I can't, I don't understand how people don't move. Like, I mean, if they're in my situations, I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand, like my parents, I grew up in the same house my whole life. Like I get that. And quite honestly, I'm looking for a home base at the age that I'm at now. Like I want my forever home. I want the stability in that, so I get that. But what I'm saying is like when my life was changing and then all of a sudden I see a business space downstairs and an apartment upstairs where, and as a single parent, I can work from home and create my own schedule and my own business. And I'm not going to move in there. Like I couldn't not do it. I couldn't be like, well, I could start my own business and not work for somebody and have the life of my dreams and be available for my son. And I could have all these benefits, but I'm scared. So I'm just going to stay working a crappy job in an apartment that I don't like. And because I'm scared.
Right.
I don't understand the mentality of that.
Yeah.
I just don't think like that. It's like I have to.
Yeah, I think a lot of people cling to comfortability and the known because the unknown is scarier than what you already know, and But it's just if I'm not going to quote him, but I feel like I quoted someone in in the last podcast. I'm going to do it anyway. It's Chuck Palahniuk. It's the guy that wrote Fight Club. And there's a quote that I love, and it's to risk happiness. To have happiness, you need to risk being completely cut open.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like obviously you're not being cut open, if you fail in a business or whatever, hopefully not. But
it's a lot less.
No risk, no reward. Like it's, that's just what it is. If you want something, you got to risk giving something up for it a lot of the time.
A lot of the time you do. And it like in real, honestly, in business, I think, and in business, I mean, starting your own business, making a career change, anything that's financial based, like it's the risk is not what people think it is. Like people will literally like, well, like I'm 54, like people will be like, oh I'm not going to make a career change now. It's like, why?
Right.
Well, because like if you want to, like, why? Like, and let's be fair now. I kind of have to put this in. Like, I get that not everybody's like me. Like truly, I mean, it's like there are lots of people, and God knows I tried to be one of them. I tried so hard to be one of these people that like can go to work to a job that they don't particularly love, but they don't hate it, and they just go in and do they get butterflies every day? No, but hey, it pays the bills. It's fine. It's consistent. They know what they're doing. It doesn't take a lot of energy. They can focus on other areas of their life. It pays their bills. It gives them a nice lifestyle, and they can just do that. And for those people, like, amen, man, God bless you. That's wonderful. Like if you can do that, because it doesn't look the same for everybody. Some people get fulfillment in their lives through volunteering or through a part-time job or through their family or through, not everybody has to have their bread and butter 8-10 hour a day job coming from this career that they absolutely love. There's not one model for everybody on the planet.
Yeah.
So not everybody has to do that. But if you have this burning urge to do it, you're not really risking anything, because you can always, in recovery, they taught this, and it actually made sense in recovery. Like when I first was trying to get sober, my sponsor was like, is there any area of your life that you didn't completely destroy? Like, and I was like, no. He's I mean anything, you know, personal life, work life. Like, did you, like, is anything good in your life? I'm like, no. He's like, so you pretty much trashed every area of your life. Yeah. He said, did you try to trash it? I said, no, I tried to live a happy, successful life. Okay, so you tried to live a happy, successful life, and what you did was destroyed absolutely everything. Is that fair to say? I said, yes. Okay, would it be fair to say that your best thinking sucks? Yes, I'm following the logic here. Like, I've got nothing to argue with, you know, at this point. Like, yeah, my best thing. He says, okay, so what then? If your best thinking sucks, if you really tried to do good in your life and you destroyed absolutely everything, what I suggest is that you try a different way of thinking. Like, try my way. Do you think I have a successful life? I'm like, yeah, in a lot of ways, it seems like you do. He says, okay. So why don't you try my way of thinking for 3 months? Just try it for 3 months. If you like it, you stick with it. Cool. Everything's wonderful. If you don't like it, we'll gladly refund your misery.
Okay.
And that made perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, if you are unhappy with your life, you're literally not risking anything. You're holding on to something that you don't like. So you're not risking anything. You might lose what you don't like. Home Alone face. Like,
Glenn literally did the Home Alone face.
I did.
He did. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy this is on video.
Yeah.
I put the videos on Spotify now too.
Oh, nice. You got even more Home Alone face.
Yep.
So,
it was good.
You know, so like that, you know, you might lose what you don't like. It's okay. You know, and you can always go back to what you don't like if you have to. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know, you can do that. So you're literally risking nothing.
Yeah.
You know. So you know, all you got to do is really start getting in with these mindsets. And, you know, of course you can work with a life coach. You can read some of these business books. You can do whatever the heck you want.
Yeah.
Like I'm playing around with some ideas with like creating a group coaching course of taking people through life transitions.
Love that.
So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, this is what we got to do. And I think I might have somebody honking the horn incessantly outside in a minute. I think that's my water delivery.
Oh, I was just curious. I wasn't sure what.
Yeah, at 9:30 at night here.
I don't know what happens over there. I was like, is this a nightly occurrence for you?
Somebody just drove up the mountain to deliver water at 9:30 at night. Yeah. So,
we just send each other a text over here. You know, they're just laying on their with your water.
All right, I got to run out for just 1 second. I'll be right back. Hang on, everybody. Talk to them, Aubrey.
All right. So this is my cat, Winston. You obviously heard. He likes to be the center of attention. So if anyone's watching, you're definitely going to see him more often. That's all I got while I'm stalling for Glenn. A great way for me, you know, just with my experience, I found my peace with yoga and meditation. When I practice yoga consistently, I have the space in between my emotion and reaction. And when I don't practice, I do not. That is how I get there. I was just sharing, I introduced Winston and I shared what I do to create space.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It was great.
Yeah, that's what it was. Somebody like they just drove up the mountain delivering water at 9:30 at night.
I was going to say, the time. That's what threw me off.
Yeah, well, they texted me earlier. They're like, "Are you home?" but I was recording. So I was like, no, I'm not even going to respond. And that was like 3 hours ago.
Oh, wow.
Apparently they just drove up. Okay. So, hey, we're back, but, yeah, we got to wrap up anyway.
Yeah.
So it's, learning to adapt to life is really the source of our strength, and our success, because it's like, if that's what we, if we can adapt to the changes that are inevitably going to take place, because they are, the change, that's the one thing we know for sure, is that everything's going to change.
Yeah.
The car's going to be a pile of dust someday. Everything changes on this earth. So if we can adapt to that, then, we're going to be able to go with the flow, and we're going to be able to, navigate those changes. And that's the recipe for success in everything, we can see that model in business. It's that I use business references a lot, but I think it's kind of like a tangible thing, because people can be like, oh, okay. Yeah. So they had a business plan, and then something didn't go as planned. So then they made an adjustment, and then they kept going, and then now they're successful. So you can kind of see it play out in real life, how stuff like that happens. And everything's like that, relationships are like that. Like when you're in a relationship with somebody, you need to adapt to what happens in those situations. So it applies to every area of our life. So, as we can practice that non-resistance to reality, relax, pause, choose how we're going to act, and adapt to whatever situation is in front of us, and choose the best course in the moment. There we go.
There we go. That's the answer.
That's it.
I love it.
You're welcome. Good night.
Perfect.
All right, cool. Well, we did it. Thank you, Aubrey.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. And that'll do.
All right.
Where's my ending? There it is.
Up.
Looking for more? Check out over 200 episodes of Life Lessons and Laughter, or click the link in the description of this episode to connect with Glenn directly.